time for another series. This is my So You Want to Become a Vtuber series. I'll do several of these. I've kind of already started them, but I didn't come up with a name yet back then. So there's other things you can see in this series of tips and tricks and whatnot. Keep your eyes out. Now, this is just the basics. We're going to go over, first of all, what a VTuber is. Because, that's the first step. If you think you want to be one, you should probably know what they are first. It's just kind of a requirement to know what it is that you want to be. You have to have some idea here. So, what is a VTuber or a V-streamer? Sometimes we're calling them V-streamers and not just VTubers. There's actually a lot of terms. In fact, let's see right over here that one of the terms is virtual YouTuber. And YouTuber is a little more than that now. It's pretty much moved to every platform because no matter what type of content you create, uh, that is sort of the term for it. Though some people have tried to use e-streamer and virtual person is one I like to talk about the concept. It's a more handy reference than just calling everyone a VTuber, but the first ones were pretty much on YouTube, so that's why it has a name like that. But as it says here, they were online entertainers that used a digital avatar generated using computer graphics. And it tells you a little bit more about the context of the history here. But for our purposes, we're going to keep it even simpler than this. This is too much for us. So we're going to just get down to the very bare bones here. A VTuber, in our context, is anyone at all, who uses a image that is not of their physical body to do streaming and content creation. So we include people that are what they now term PNG tubers, who use a picture rather than actually showing a moving image based on them on the screen. That's included in our blanket term for this because we're just going to be inclusive. That's what we're going to do. We're going to be inclusive. All right. And so now you know that you're basically a content creator or a streamer, some form of entertainer online, basically. And you want to use a virtual self to do that. You might actually have seen some of these. They might be why you want to become a VTuber. Like this one here, Kazuna goes way back. Got lots of subs on YouTube. May have seen her before. She's arguably one of the original ones, or at least the original big ones. Not all the originals made it to be really big. So she's one of the earliest ones I knew about. And actually, I was sub to her for a long time. There are other newer ones too, like Aragura, the adorable shark. Very popular. Almost as popular as Kazuna actually. Though Kazuna has multiple channels and it's a little confusing trying to figure out how that all works together. But her adorable shark here is another really popular one, along with a lot of the Hololive members, which is a group of virtual YouTubers, because they all use YouTube. I'm going to use that term. So they're all virtual YouTubers or VTubers got together through a company, actually, in this case. So there's a lot of Hololive ones out there. And they're now quite popular, especially once the English brands came out. There was a lot of excitement in them. So you've probably seen some of these before. They give you an idea of what it's like. But there's a lot of us out there now. A lot of us. We do a lot of crazy and wacky things. All sorts of crazy and wacky. So, that said, why might you want to become a YouTuber? Well, For my answers to this, I'm going to tell you things that appeal to me. First is the ability to shape my appearance to everyone without having to rely on makeup and all sorts of natural or possibly considered not so natural ways of enhancing how you look. And, there's days you just really want to wear that baggy sweatshirt, but you can't stream in that because you're worried that people are going to think that, don't look so great today. Don't have to worry about that with VTubing. None of that. No, no. You get to make your look any way you want. And unless you change it, it stays that way. So, if you look tired that day, no one will ever know. Our secret, okay? Our secret. Also, a lot of them, including the one still up on the screen here, they create a persona. They don't have to be themselves when they're streaming. I mean, obviously, some characteristics of yourself are going to come through, but you get to be more than just yourself. You get to shape an entire personality that you want to be, and that can be very useful. It also is fun to, act or play as something not yourself. Anyone who's ever done any role-playing before is going to be right at home here. Right at home. This is especially good, though, for shy people and introverted people, since we don't have to be ourselves. We get to, be more outgoing, more outspoken, not so shy, interact with people more. Obviously, I'm doing this video by myself, so not really interacting with anyone here, but when I'm streaming, I'm interacting with chat. One drops in, joins me on the couch. I get to interact with them. We have a lot of fun together. There's also one other aspect. Some people, those that want to do this as a career, might decide that they want to be a VTuber because it's one way to get attention. You can have a unique look that is going to get you a lot of attention. Sometimes in trouble. Obviously, this is also for fun. Really? You want to enjoy yourself. And for me, this helps me enjoy myself. Much more than if I was doing it the traditional way with the camera and, looking at my face all the time. And I'd have to spend like an hour getting ready before I streamed every day. That's not any fun. That's just not any fun for me. So, much easier and simpler to do it like this. And more fun. Now, there are things you need if you're going to be a VTuber. Well, the first thing you need, let's put it this way. First thing you need is a PC. You pretty much have to have either a desktop or a laptop, Mac, or some other flavor of PC. Does not matter what, but you need one because you need to run the streaming software, and it's pretty much all PC based. So you're going to need a PC somewhere in this mix. There's different ways to do this, but you're going to need that. And now, you're also going to need either a camera or a smartphone. Smartphones have cameras built into them, so they've started to be used, at least in the upper end smartphones. They're getting used a lot as cameras by people starting out, especially. And if you already have a smartphone with a good camera in it, you can just use that to get started. You don't need anything else. There's no special things you need other than that. And we'll get into this a little more elsewhere. But that can be useful as a webcam if you don't have a webcam already. If you have a webcam, you can use that too. Both work just fine, but you want one or the other. You're also probably going to want an actual microphone and not just the little built-in mic in your phone or the one in the webcam if it has one. You're going to want a real mic. I already sound bad enough. I do not need to sound worse by having a bad mic. So, that is another thing you're going to want to have. Now, way down the line, we're going to get into talking about things like streaming console games, whether you need 2 PCs to make everything work, but that's out of our scope for now. But for now, you just need to have PC, and some sort of camera we're going to use, and a microphone. Then you need streaming and or recording software. By far the most common one of these is what's known as OBS. OBS is definitely the most popular one to use. I'll get into this much later, but for now, we're going to mention that it exists. It is free, so very, very common to use. I don't really know anyone that doesn't use some form of OBS. There are a few other programs out there that can do this, but that's beyond our scope for now. We'll get back to it. You also need Vtuber face tracking software. This can be on your phone if you have the right type of phone, or this can be using your webcam if you're using the PC to do this. I talk about this a lot in the videos I already have up, so I will not talk about this very much right now. You can refer to those. This video will probably link to them too, so go and watch those. But you'll need one. Without that, you don't move, and can't really do this. Just not gonna work that way. Then let's go on to the next thing you need. You need art. There's a lot of art to doing this, and by that I mean basically digital art. First, there is your model, your avatar, if you will. You can get free ones, and I go into this a little bit in my talk about VTuber software, so look to those videos for that. But you will need an avatar to use, some sort of model. Without that, there's nothing to animate, and we would be very boring. We wouldn't move, we wouldn't do anything. We'd be back to that, well, we'd either be PNGs or we'd be just voice. And that can work for people, but in fact, if you're new, those are good places to start. But I prefer to jump right into having a model, and since there's free ones, I don't see why not to. Especially if it's taking a little while to get everything else ready. There's no reason to just, stop and come back later. But you also need a bunch of other stuff. There's what are called overlays. I can't quite show you that right this moment, but what you're seeing on screen, everything you're seeing on screen, me, the background behind me, this right here, all this is part of an overlay. This particular one has very little art in it, just my background, really. But overlays are all composed of art and different, I guess you'd call them widgets. So, a lot of people have like animated overlays and stuff like that. There are free resources to this, and I will make another video that gets into this topic. But you'll be dealing with overlays a lot, and some art ability helps if you're making these overlays. Which type doesn't necessarily matter too much if you can make use of the free resources well. So if you're not like a 3D artist or a 2D digital artist, don't worry. There are other types of art you can use to good effect here. I am a photographer, so that is my background as art skills go. So I know compositing images and things like that, and that comes in really handy when doing these. But there's also other things. You'll probably at some point want to have a logo, something that represents your brand, your image, especially if you're wanting to do this as a business. Having a logo is an important thing, and that is a pure piece of art. Mine is something I found that was a stock image, so I should not really use it for too long without modifying it in some way to be my own and not stock anymore. And my name kind of does that. Adding my name to it sort of makes it my own, but I would prefer at some point to redo mine and have it be a real logo, but I haven't got to that yet, so we're a little jank here, don't worry. You can start jank. It will not be a permanent thing, hopefully. Probably. Anyways, back to the things we're talking about. Then you have what are called banners. It's right here. where it has my logo image and my name and the background behind all that. That is a banner. YouTube and Twitch both have these, and they help represent your brand and have a unifying inner impact on your art. So they're things to look for, and need to have those at some point. Mine is very simple. Mine is super simple. It took me, well, like 10 minutes in the image editing software to do this. So it's necessary and it's art, but you can probably do this all on your own, and you don't have to hire someone if you don't want to. Of course, if a more professional artist does it, it might look better in the end, but it's up to you. You just need to know that there's some art involved with making these things. There are also other types of art. Some are specific to a particular platform, especially like Twitch, where you have panels and alerts that you need to worry about. Those are all bits of art. You might be able to make those yourself. You might have to get someone to do them for you. As you grow and develop as a VTuber, you'll probably want these. Even if you're not doing it seriously, these are nice touches that will be impressive looking to anyone who comes by to play with you. So there are things you want to take into consideration. Also, there's music. Music is super important, and there's a lot of good resources on music. I'm going to get into that in another video, finding it with all the art resources I'm going to talk about. But as this video can show you, there is a lot of music that you want to have, even if it's just background, give context to what you're talking about, and to make it less boring for people listening. If you're a game streamer, you need as much music, because you'll be streaming the game, and the game will have its own music, hopefully. Unless they've been bad and you can't play their music. Some games are like that. You can't stream them safely. But that's beyond our grasp here. We'll talk about that some other time. But those are the basic things. Those are the things you need. So we have camera or phone that's capable sufficiently of doing what we want. We have the microphone and the PC you're going to hook all these to. And then we have the streaming/recording software. And we have the face tracking software if you plan to use a model. And if you're not using a model, you'll probably still need like an image that you want to use. So you'll need that too. But if it's not animated, then that gets into the art. So you'll need some art here. And then there's music. Those are the basic things you need. Now, we're going to get into some other topics really quick here. This can be a business, but it doesn't have to be. You can just, decide that you want to be a VTuber and stream for friends and hang out with people. And that's okay. But if you want to do it as a business, this gets a little more complex. Or even if you want to combine the two, because I want to have fun, but I would love to be able to do this all the time and not have to worry about like a job on the other side of the screen. So for me, it's both business and fun. I want to have fun all the time, have that as my business. So I am here. I'm doing all these videos for you. So that's part of how this works. But I'm going to add some links to this section that you're going to see in a second. You want to do your research ahead of time. There's all sorts of things you need to know, really, to start streaming. I recommend that you visit Alpha Game. There's some other VTuber specific places that I'm going to mention too, have links to, but Alpha Gaming helped a lot in my research phase. It's done by a guy named Harris Heller. He does a lot of how to get things set up, how to use OBS, all those sorts of things that you want to know how to do. He talks about overlays, all that sort of stuff. Great resource for that. He'll even talk about things like webcams, more professional cameras, audio, what hardware to buy, all of it gets into the nuts and bolts, so I don't have to. I'd love to talk about those because they are interesting topics, but I don't have to because he's already done them. Covered that. Now, we should probably mention the platforms. As you can see, he's on YouTube, but he is also on Twitch. But in his list, you'll see stuff that he's done from his streams that he posts over here as well. So, those are the two big ones, Twitch and YouTube. Twitch, for the longest time, has been the primary live streaming platform. So, that is a good choice there. Oh, and before I forget, go to another helpful resource if you're getting started, Jusagi-chan. They have up a lot of videos that talk about getting into VTubing and doing the business aspect. So if you're planning to do the business aspect, you should really take a look at their videos as well. They also run a Discord and some other stuff that can help you out if you're new. They are very active on Twitter. Now, back to the subject of Twitch versus YouTube. Streaming live on YouTube is a little bit newer. They only started that like a couple of years ago. Before then, it was all video content. You didn't do any sort of live streaming on their service, really. And Twitch was the one that, basically formed just to do live streaming content. That's not true anymore. They both now do live streaming content. And there are advantages and disadvantages to both, and we're going to talk about those in a separate video. But I wanted to bring them up here so that people know about them. Now, you also want to think about appeal to a certain audience. That might be things like Twitter, or TikTok, or Instagram, or all sorts of programs, or even just word of mouth to people you know. There's lots of ways to build communities. That is definitely several videos all on its own. So we're not going to go too deep into that right now. But if you're doing this as a job, you probably want to research these and figure out which ones of these are best for you. So that all goes into how you get discovered. And YouTube is pretty good for discoverability. If you start making content, people are probably going to just be able to find it as long as they're looking for that type of content. So, if you want to be a food VTuber, and you post up yummy looking food all the time, then if people search for food on YouTube, and I'm not sure how often they do that, but they might be doing that, I don't know, then they might find your stuff. And if that's the sort of thing they like, YouTube presents it to them. So that's a very convenient way to get discovered. Twitch is not quite so good at that, because you usually are streaming into a category that could have like 10,000 people in it. And if you're one of 10,000 people, it is really hard to get noticed. But if you're in a category that has like 6 people in it, then someone maybe will actually look at your stuff. But they can also search and do some other things, so there's some discoverability on Twitch, just not nearly as advanced. And a lot of us would love if Twitch would step up their game at this. So, let Twitch know that. Have all of us let Twitch know that. Maybe Twitch will actually do this at some point. That would be great. But that gets back into the whole platform thing, and we're not going to go too much into that. I should also mention that there is a third platform. Facebook now does a streaming system called Facebook Gaming. At least I think that's what it's called. I do not Facebook, so I don't quite understand how that works. But I know some people who do stream on Facebook Gaming, and they get some attention there. So maybe that's your thing. It could be. I don't know how that works. So I am not going to talk about that subject. But I wanted to bring them up. Now, we're going to get into the last category of the basics of VTubing. This is what talents can you use? Because VTubers come in all shapes, sizes, colors. Space aliens, or regular people, or cat girls, or bunny rabbits. It gets creative, quite creative. There's very inclusive list of us, and we have a wide range of talents. A lot of VTubers are artists. Because, hey, you're an artist. You know how to draw, create all sorts of fun art, probably make a model all on your own, and you don't need anything else. You just need probably some examples to get this done. That is a very large selection of VTubers. I love all those people who can do the art. I need those people around. I want more of those people around. But that is one great talent that helps getting started. Another popular one is music. I didn't show her before, but along with Aragura, there is Calliope Mori. And Calliope is known for her musical talents, specifically within Hololive. She's not the only one. There are several great, wonderful singers, music artists that are part of Hololive, and they're not alone. There's a lot of formerly independent ones, like Iron Mouse, who is a great singer. I just love her singing. There's even composers who are VTubers now. So some of us do music creation. I love all those people too. Those are great. They have a very good start on content creation because they can do music or sing or anything connected to that. And while I know some musical stuff, I will not really be able to do it here. So, unfortunately, not my aspect. In fact, I'm more towards the art because I also dabble in fashion. I'm fashion. Looking cute. Having fun things to put on and wear. That's another aspect of me. But then we go into the third of the talent categories I'm going to suggest. That's gaming. Even like Hololive talents that are great musicians or artists, they all do gaming because gaming is a really easy activity to get in with other people, and it helps to grow an audience that way. And heck, a lot of us out there are just gamers and game with other people. So if we're VTubers, gaming is a great thing. I also love role-playing games. There are a lot of them on streams. Some that are more tactical, some that are more action, but they're all role-playing games. And I love them for their stories, and I love to sit down and play with people as we get to share that all together, which is great. But gaming is a very, very common aspect, especially on Twitch, what we all get together to do. A lot of that too on YouTube, especially Let's Play pretty much started on YouTube, or at least I knew of it first there, like 10 years ago. So, very, very long history of gaming. Then, they have people that, are just humorous, funny, creative, without having to do anything more than just talk to people. And I think I have aspects of that. Funny, or at least entertaining to watch, listen to. But you never know. But there's lots of people too that just do, just chatting streams or sort of talking primarily stream with a little bit of music going in the background, just so that it's not just one person's voice all the time. And that can be your thing too. It can be your thing. There's other types too. Those are just the big four that I just listed. And a lot of people do more than one category. The more categories you can hit, the more people you can draw in. So if you're an artist, a musician, gamer, and you're entertaining, you have all the categories covered, and you can appeal to all sorts of people. Not just one or two, but all sorts. And then there's other strange skills. I could do cooking. I'm actually proficient at the cookings. I probably will not stream that myself because I have to make my kitchen look better than I think it looks right now. But there are people out there. Achima is definitely one that is known for her cooking, but not in a positive way. But she's known for her cooking. and there's some other streamers that are VTubers that do that. You can bring in all sorts of skills. You just have to find that talent that that helps you to become what you want. That's the heart of any sort of VTuber. It is what you want to be and figuring out how to get there. That's what we do. That is what we do. Is the way. So, for now, I'm gonna close this out. You're gonna see this in a little while. Hope you enjoyed, and come back for more. Want more? There is that like and subscribe buttons down there, and you can click on those and give me more, enjoy more, learn more. What we're here for. Have fun and take care. See ya.